Hello, dear students. Welcome to our Gulel series, and let us continue with the topic human reproduction. As you all know, that reproduction is a characteristic features of living organisms. It is the ability of an organism to produce an offspring like itself, similar to itself. Reproduction can either be sexual reproduction or asexual reproduction. And sexual reproduction involves the formation and the fusion of gametes. It is biparental and it results into variations. In human beings, we have got two sexes, male and female, and both the sexes show the presence of sex organs. These sex organs can be classified as primary sex organs and secondary sex organs. Primary sex organs are also called as gonads. These help in gamete production and the formation of sex hormones. Like in the case of males, the gonads are the testes and they help in the formation of sperms and the male sex hormone testosterone. In the case of females, the gonads are called ovaries. They help in the formation of the ova and the female sex hormones estrogen and progesterone. The secondary sex organs, they help in the transportation of gametes. Like in the case of males, it is the epididymis, vas deferens, and the other ducts. In the case of females, it is going to be the oviduct, uterus, etc. So now let us dive into the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of a pair of structures which are called as the gonad. The development of testes is intra-abdominal. In the seventh month of pregnancy, the testes descend down through the inguinal canal into the scrotum. So after the seventh month of pregnancy, they come down into the scrotum. So now the location of the testis has become extra abdominal. And the reason for this is that it requires about 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius less than the body temperature for spermatogenesis. The testes are protected by a pouch of skin that I have highlighted over here. This pouch of skin is called as the scrotum. The scrotum is made up of dartos muscle, and this dartos muscle contracts during winters and relaxes during summers, bringing the testes either closer to the body or away from the body. As a result of which, it helps in the thermoregulation of the testes. The dartos muscle is also helped by another muscle, which is called the cremaster muscle, which is not mentioned in the NCERT text. But these are some of the muscles that help in the thermoregulation of the testes. In certain male child, sometimes the testis is not able to descend into the scrotum, and this condition is called as cryptorchidism. Cryptorchidism. Now, the testis is covered by many layers. Okay, we are talking about the internal structure of the testes. The testes consist of an outermost dense white fibrous tissue, which is called as the tunica albuginea, which is called as the tunica albuginea. Over the tunica albuginea, there is the tunica vaginalis. Over the tunica vaginalis, there is a peritoneal layer, an incomplete layer of peritoneum. So, external to the testis, matlab just closer to the testis, is the tunica albuginea. And this tunica albuginea sends a lot of septa inside, which divides the testis into a number of compartments, which are called as testicular lobules. So if this over here is the testes covered with tunica albuginea, and these are the septa that are given in by the tunica albuginea, dividing the testes into number of compartments. And one compartment is called as a testicular lobule. In such manner, a testis, TES, has about 250 compartments, and plural TES will be 250 into 2. And these testicular compartments, which are called as testicular lobules, they show the presence of sperm producing tubules, which are called as the seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubule, there are 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules per testicular lobule. The seminiferous tubules, they have thin tubes called tubular recti, which all join result in the formation of a network of tubules, which is called as the red testis. And the red testis join to form the vasa efferentia, which pierces through the tunica albuginea and opens into the epididymis. Now, other than that, what we observe is that these are the seminiferous tubules. Within the seminiferous tubules, there are cells which are called as the Sertoli cells or the nurse cells, and the inner lining of the seminiferous tubule shows the presence of different types of sperm producing cells called spermatogonia, primary spermatocytes, secondary spermatocytes, spermatids, finally resulting in the formation of sperms. और जो sperm form होते हैं, develop हो जाते हैं, you will see them attached. The sperms will be attached to these seminiferous tubules, taking nourishment from the seminiferous tubules. And then the release of the sperms into the seminiferous tubules is called as spermiation. The entire process of formation of seminiferous tubule of sperms is called as spermatogenesis. Sperm formation के process को कहते हैं spermatogenesis. एक और point यहाँ पे आएगा. The seminiferous tubules, between them, show the presence of cells which are called as the interstitial cells or the interstitial cells, Leydig cells. Under the influence of the hormone LH, that is luteinizing hormone, the luteinizing hormone which is produced by our pituitary gland, anterior pituitary, it acts on the interstitial cells. As a result of which, the interstitial cells secrete the male sex hormone that is called as the testosterone. Testosterone is the principal, the main androgen in the case of males. It helps in stimulating the process of spermatogenesis. Testosterone also is responsible for secondary sexual characters in males. Then there are other immunocompetent cells within the testes. These include some phagocytotic cells, which will engulf the foreign particles. Also, to protect the sperms, there is a testis blood barrier. So there is a lot of immunological security for the new sperms that have been produced. The vasa efferentia, as we have seen, the vasa efferentia, as we have seen, opens in the epididymis. Okay, so the epididymis is present on the lateral border of the testes, consists of highly coiled tubules. Okay, about 6 meters long, but they're highly coiled. The epidermis shows the presence of different regions like the head part, the caput, the middle body, corpus. and the tail part called chorda. And the different regions help in the storage and the maturation of the sperms. The epididymis opens into the vas deferens, and the singular it is called vas deferens, plural it is called as the vasa deferentia. It is also called as the sperm duct. So in this diagram you'll see that the vasa deferens, it ascends up towards the abdominal cavity, it passes through the inguinal canal, turns over the ureters, and it opens into the duct of the seminal vesicles, unites to form the ejaculatory duct which opens into the urethra. So ये जो वास डिफरेंस है जो अराइज होता है एपिडिडाइमिस से, इसे ऊपर की तरफ जाता है इनग्वाइनल कैनाल के थ्रू, और ये एक स्पर्मेटिक कॉर्ड का पार्ट बन जाता है, और फिर वो टर्न ओवर करता है यूरेटर्स पे। जैसे वो टर्न ओवर करता है यूरेटर्स के अपने साइड पे, तो वो ज्वाइन करता है सेमाइनल वेसिकल्स के डक्ट्स के साथ। सेमाइनल वेसिकल का डक्ट और वास डिफरेंस दोनों मिलके बनाते हैं इजैकुलेटरी डक्ट, जो प्रोस्टेट ग्लैंड के थ्रू पास होके यूरेथ्रा के अंदर ओपन हो जाता है। देन the ejaculatory duct passes through the urethra, urinary bladder नहीं आएगा यहाँ पे, and then the urethra opens out by an opening which is called as the urethral orifice या urethral meatus. So these are the ducts. So you need to remember the sequence, students. Like seminiferous tubules open into the retatestis. Retatestis opens into the vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia into the epididymis. Vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra outside. To help the process of reproduction, I told you initially that there is a primary sex organ that is called the gonad, and these gonads include the testes. But other than that, sperm को environment देने के लिए, ताकि वो survive कर सके, उनको nutrition मिल सके, you have three accessory glands in the case of the male reproductive system, which includes a pair of seminal vesicles, a single prostate gland, and a pair of bulbourethral glands, also known as Cowper gland. So the seminal vesicles are on the dorsolateral side of the urinary bladder. They produce an alkaline, transparent, jelly-like lubricating fluid, which is called as the seminal fluid, which forms around 60 to 70% of the semen. It contains fructose as a source for sperm energy, fibrinogens, prostaglandins, and many other proteins. The prostate gland, it produces the prostatic fluid, it forms about 30% of the semen, and it helps in the activation of sperm. It consists of calcium, citric acid, phosphate, and the clotting enzymes. The bulbourethral gland, which is also called the Cowper gland, it produces a lubricating clear fluid which starts to secrete just prior to ejaculation, and it will neutralize the acidity of the urethra. Also, it will help in lubrication during coitus. So these were the accessory glands. As I told you, when we are taken the transverse section of the testis, other than the Sertoli cells, there are different cells which help in the formation of sperms, and they're in the different stages of development, which include the spermatogonium, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte, spermatid, and finally the spermatozoans, that is the sperms. Now, the male external genitalia. The male external genitalia includes those organs which can be seen from outside, and they include the penis and the scrotum. These two parts together is called as the male external genitalia. The penis is called as the male copulatory organ. It is an erectile tissue. Okay, and the penis shows the presence of the root which is attached to the body of the male and the body of the penis which hangs loose. The tip of the penis is called as the glans penis and it is covered by a fold of skin which is called foreskin or prepuce. A transverse section of the penis will reveal that there are two dorsolateral bundles of erectile tissue having blood sinusoids which are called as corpora cavernosa and a single mass of a tissue which is called corpus spongiosum, and through the corpus spongiosum passes the penile part of penile urethra, what we call. Okay, and the glans penis shows the presence of only the corpus spongiosum. It has got free nerve endings. That is why it is called as the sensitive part of the penis or a part for male sexual excitement. And it is covered by a fold of skin which is called as foreskin. Under the influence of the nervous system and hormones, the blood sinusoids during the male sex act get filled with blood, resulting into the different stages of the male sexual act. And the flaccid penis gets filled with blood, resulting into a stage which is called erection. The semen then gets collected in the ejaculatory duct. Under the influence of the nervous system, the ejaculatory duct contracts, the semen is thrown out, which is called ejaculation, and then the blood sinusoids become empty. Once again, the penis becomes flaccid. When the ejaculation occurs in the female reproductive system, we call the process as natural insemination. This is about the male reproductive system that you need to quickly go through.